Hi, do you feel like your progression that you're doing in your life is not taking you anywhere? How many of you feel like the quality of your life is kind of boring, and the things that you do in a day-to-day basis seems to be the same thing, like over and over again, like the movie Groundhog Day or the song Every Day is Exactly the Same by Nine Inch Nails. Like, do you feel like that? So today we're going to talk about this. Um, I am somebody who has been spending a lot of time reading self-help books and working on a system that would help me be productive, right? Like that's what most people do, right? Like they try to apply a habit for exercising and for their, for their goals in their career. And for most people, this doesn't seem to be a problem. There are some kind of people who seem to be doing exercise consistently, and there are others who seem to be acing their job professionally speaking. So how, like, they may have found a way to like get to it, and my job is to like find out how to do that. And I'm not saying as like my professional career. I was like, it's like a personal project of mine to like figure out how this was done and apply it into a system that I could see for myself. So today I'll be talking about three things, as always. Firstly, I'll be talking about gamification, what gamification is, applying design thinking into gamification, and finally, how would uh, how would you design your own gamified system? In the sense, like how can you create your own game? So here's how it goes. Firstly, what is gamification? Gamification is using game design principles. Like, you know how video games are designed? They are designed in such a way that the user or the player is constantly engaged with what is happening on screen. So the designers of video games have these particular skill sets where they make sure that you keep playing the game and you keep playing games for longer. So it is not and it's not strange to think about so many people in the world are so engrossed in video games. They love it, and this is not something that you can only limit it to games. You can even expand it to other stuff. Yeah, hi Adrik. So what we're going to like talk about today is how we're going to apply video game design principles into various domains of life. So there is whole um, saying, right? Like life is not a game. Well, life is not a game, but it is a series of games. Like there's this book called Finite and Infinite Games, where the author talks about how finite games are games like football or like cricket, where you have a distinct starting point for the game and a distinct ending point for the game. So that would be considered a finite game, because once you reach a certain score, or in football, there's a timer. But in cricket, there is usually the number of overs or the balls that you throw. That's what counted. There's always a limit. But in life, or in the domain of everyday life, you find that these games never end. Like it's like a infinite game. So there is no such thing as a winner in business, because it's not something like a winner in business would be like is not same as a winner in the football World Cup. Because if there is a winner in a football World Cup, like everybody else would be a loser. But in business, you're only a loser if you stop playing. So as long as you meet a certain criteria, you're considered a winner. So there are multiple winners in business, not just one. And similarly in fitness, there's no somebody who's like who is the winner of all fitness. But you could say some names like The Rock, or some athletes like I don't know, Tom Brady, Michael Jordan. Like you could think that they won at sports, but it's not like they won in the entirety of sports. It's like they won in a certain game. But what made them win is that they played the infinite game of conditioning their body to be able to play that sport. And considering talking about Michael Jordan, right? Like he kept his body in such peak fitness that after basketball he tried baseball and stuff, and again, and golf also. Like, but he did come back to basketball, eventually. But regardless, I digress. So the point is that you pick a certain domain and you build or design a game for yourself, such that you have the proper motivations or motivators for you to keep going forward. Now, uh, one of the books that you can consider checking out in gamification is Reality is Broken by Jane McGonigal, and one more book she has written called Super Better, which is also written by Jane McGonigal. So it's a very fascinating idea. So basically what you it's set up into 8 different domains. All right, this is how you turn any domain of yours into a game. So let's take for instance something I'm crazy about, which is entrepreneurship. So how would you turn like something like business into a game, which is obviously an infinite game, but how do you turn it into something that which gives you a flow state? A flow state is, let me quickly define it. A flow state is something where you are completely engaged with the challenge as it reflects on your current skill level. So if the challenge is much higher than your current skill level, you won't be able to tackle it. However, if your skill level is high and the challenge is too low, you will be bored out of your mind. So that's not an ideal flow state. Ideal flow state would be your skill level and your challenge level are matched. Sometimes even if you like the challenge level is a bit higher, you're pushing yourself to reach a flow state would be in this spectrum, or where your challenge is above or slightly above or below your skill level. So currently what happens is, like, since it's a very chaotic landscape, right? Like reality or the way we see the world, without any, if you take away all the filters and stuff, like the world occurs as a very chaotic place, right? Consider Nassim Nicholas Taleb's 3 amazing books: the Inserto trilogy, which is Fooled by Randomness, and Black Swan, and Anti-Fragile. Like these books put in this idea that basically the world is, it runs on like an order which is not clear to us. I mean, which is not graspable to us. Like it's like there's a lot of noise going around. There's too much stuff happening for you to focus on, like, to make a meaningful relevant action. Therefore what we need is a filter in which empowers you, like a context. So alter the context, you can alter what is possible for you. So if you see business or entrepreneurship or fitness or your whatever it is that you're trying to do, right? If you see it as something that you have to do, as if like it's a matter of desperation, then your results will be reflected on it. You might get some results, but do you think you would be like, just ask let me ask you this question: do you think you will achieve more results out of desperation, or would you achieve more results out of coming from freedom and happiness? So uh, your performance, right, is reflected upon how you face the game. So there's this book by this Harvard professor called The Happiness Advantage by Sean Accord. So there is an argument by highly productive I have heard this argument mostly from highly productive people in my circle, that you need to have like a state of desperation, or you need to be like unhappy in your life for you to be able to achieve something, to do something great. However, in this book, Happiness Advantage, Sean Acker like does his research. He takes a poll, he takes like the statistics and stuff, and he spent his time in the Harvard dorms. All right, like researching about these students, and what he found was, it was not that success begets you happiness, that you do the grinding, you do the stuff, and only then you achieve a state of happiness. That's a misnomer. It's like you somebody who's already happy is more likely to achieve the successful results, rather than somebody who's unhappy and expects to be happy once he gets that considered result, which is here the context is academics, but Sean Acker even put it across for this thing for professionals as well. So now, how do you build a context? Now we come to design thinking. All right, like how do you build a context that works for you? So this is where design thinking is basically a methodology where you like go from the bottom up approach to design a system or a service or a product which fits the particular user. So let's just do a design thinking exercise right now. So my background as an architect, right? Like I'm somebody who has experience in design, and when you considering designing a system such as this, which is a bit it's intangible, right? Like how would you design a game for yourself such that you achieve more results? So this is how you would go with the framework. I'm going to use the framework built by Jane McGonigal with her super beta uh, formula, right? See, you need to pick like a problem that you want to solve. So consider your problem would be reading more books or being more fit. So for me, right, let me just choose meditation. All right, the challenge for me is to meditate. Be consistent with my meditation. So how would I gamify this? So the eight different aspects of how do you turn this into a gamified system is: number one, you need to define the challenge. So what really is the challenge here? Like, is the challenge like to increase the number of meditation hours? But increasing the number of meditation hours is not something that I feel empowered by. So like you need to pick a challenge which is like touches, moves, and inspires you. So rather than me telling myself that, hey, like I'm going to be somebody who's gonna just meditate for 1300 hours a day or something, like that's like you got to define a challenge in a bit of an abstract way, because if you put up a finite thing, that finite thing comes later. You like if you gotta see it as an infinite game. So we'll talk about finite games later, but let's just focus on infinite games right now. So meditation is a lifelong pursuit for me. So I'm seeing meditation as like going to the gym, but for my mind. So the benefits of meditation are pretty clear. That you have a better sense of health. You become happier, like 10% happier, according to Dan Harris in his book 10% Happier, the same name. So regardless, the challenge would be for me to have peace of mind, or to be the challenge would be for me to be present in the current moment. Or let's just pick this, like the challenge is to be happier. That's a very simple challenge. Like it's not as if I'm like always sad all the time. It's the challenge is to like break that whatever meditation offers. So meditation's ultimate goal is to have a no mind state, right? Like egoless state. That's like the spiritual domain. But so we'll call the challenge as uh, to achieve a no mind state. All right. So when it comes to exercise, it could be anything. Like if like is it having abs and having like defined triceps and muscular definition? Those are all the results. Like you got to talk about the challenge. Like what are you being challenged by? So having a no mind state, having an egoless state is a challenge for me. So if you're picking fitness, the challenge would be like being strong, like to become powerful. Okay, that's the challenge, to become the or be in performance conditions, or something like that. Pick something that sounds awesome, or like you could like if it's you can like put it in like a work in progress, right? Like to become the Hulk or something like that. That sounds like okay. Like is it even achievable in this lifetime? Maybe or maybe not. But the fact that you're putting up a challenge for yourself itself gives you a direction. That's like a compass, pole star, north point. Uh, Consider that. Now, once you have set up the challenge, you're going to talk about the combos. Okay, so like when you start like a game, right? Like in the classic games, there used to be something like you need to press a series of buttons where a combo would be activated. So this is famous in Street Fighter, or like in Mario, when you press a certain amount of buttons, then Mario would jump higher. Or in Street Fighter, like a certain set of combos for a character would unlock a special move. So this is like a special move you're employing. So for me, like in meditation, a combo move would be like setting up a timer and actually uh, sitting down and doing the meditation. Like that itself is a combo move, because that is like how I play the game. So if I meditate, like so my objective is to meditate 2 times a day and for an hour each. This is based on my vipassana training, like vipassana meditation training. So in order for me to like activate this combo, I want to meditate 2 times two times a day, an hour each, and that would be the combo. All right. So in case of you being in fitness, if your goal is to exercise 4 times in a week or 2 times in a week or whatever it is, like if you even want to do like 10 push-ups per day, that would be a combo. That's where you activate a combination move which will unlock something for you. So, and this unlocking thing is basically like what do you say, um, like something like a check mark on a scoreboard. We'll get more on that later. See, the point is, it's like you're complicating your life. You're a bit adding a bit of an extra complexity. You're not just doing the task, but you're also keeping track of the task, which is an extra barrier, so an extra constraint. So now I'll tell you how this works. Ian Bogost, right? He's a game designer and he's also a philosopher. Okay, like interesting guy. So he's written this book called Play Anything. So he talks about an instance where he's taking his daughter to the mall, and he's like dragging holding her hand, and he's walking towards a store, and he sees that his daughter is dragging him behind. Like he's like wondering what's going on. When he looks behind him, he sees that his daughter is playing that game as a kid. Like you don't step on the crack of the tile, you step only inside the tile. So she's playing that game when she's in the mall. So it's like already like she's walking, and walking is like, okay, it's a boring thing. If you're considering yourself a child or whatever, like in the mall. But with that added complexity, she's turned a simple thing into a game, and that's why you are adding more constraint. So when you add more constraint, you make the game more fun. Like that's the counterintuitive part. Like less freedom, like you are self-denying your self-freedom. So Frank Lloyd Wright said, architecture's greatest, uh, the greatest works of architecture were achieved out of constraint. And even in Stoicism, like there's this philosopher called Epictetus, I think. Okay, he said that when you deny yourself of pleasure now, you have more. Like denial of pleasure. When it's there, it's like you activate more pleasure. So it's like it's a counterintuitive thing. It's like you you turn right to turn left. Okay. So similarly, in Nassim Nicholas Taleb's book Anti-Fragile, he talks about this. It's called how do you build a system which is which can grow out of chaos. It doesn't break down in chaos. It doesn't it not only be robust during chaos, but which can grow in chaos. So efficient systems, which are like you'd consider like being efficient would be, hey, I don't need any of this stuff. Let's make it as simple as possible, like point A to point B. However, by when you apply anti-fragile, thinking, when you apply building an inefficient system which has multiple redundancies, you are more robust, like you are anti-fragile. So I hope this makes sense. Like in subsequent videos, I will elaborate on this. But just for now, just think that you are applying multiple constraints. So when speaking of constraints, I'll be talking about bad guys. In a video game, you have obstacles. In Mario, you had those turtles and you had Goombas or whatever. In Street Fighter, you have the opponent. Of course, if there's no opponent, you won't be able to like go forward, right? In games like Prince of Persia and like Counter Strike, I suppose, like you have like enemies. So the point is that you have like a certain kind of, you need to identify the obstacles that come your way. So in my case, for meditation, like the obstacle would be like like basically laziness, right? Like me having to go out and like sit in the position or the meditation position and start doing the meditation. So when I go and do that, there are like these cognitive what do you say, cognitive obstacles. Like the obstacles, they come in like excuses. All right, these excuses are mostly like, hey, like what's the point of meditation? I'm like, I can't meditate anyway, like my thoughts always go somewhere else. Or that's like you gotta like observe what your thoughts are. So I'm taking a mindfulness approach to this bad guys thing, but call it rather than bad guys, like that's what Jane McGonigal in her super better thing, she calls it bad guys. But consider, like, I would call them guardians, okay, because guardians are something which stop you from getting into like a space, right? So man, I'm turning this into such a nerdy thing, right? uh, oh, I hope you enjoy that. Like I think the people who would be watching this kind of stuff would be nerds, right? I hope so. So right, so you would have guardians which would stop you from moving through into the next level. So what are the things that are stopping you from your fitness? Like, can you like tell me some of uh, the stories you tell yourself, because that's what they are. They're stories, right? Like when you go to do push-ups, like like what I'm gonna do doing push-ups, like I won't even able to do it anyway. Doing the push-up hurts, and like even if I do get biceps, I may not be able to impress the girl I like all those stories, right? You gotta like bring them into write them down. So those are your guardians. Like those are the ones, guardians in the sense they are like stopping you from reaching your uh, achieving a challenge. And if these guardians weren't there, like it would be like it would be a boring game. So uh, add constraints such as those yourself. Like these are the like you'd expect that there will be other things also, like I don't have enough time, or you gotta like just if you have any things in your mind, just type it down in the comments, okay? So these may occur as very real to you. Hey, like I don't have the time to do this, or hey, like there are people in my space right now who don't want me to do this, and they have their own thought process and stuff. Whatever it is, like make a list of it. Like those are your guardians, and each time you cross a guardian, like you gotta like maneuver yourself such a way that you cross it, and then you are able to like you know um, fulfill on it. So that's how you I'll elaborate on this a bit further later. So we have just crossed challenge, the combination moves, guardians, and now we're going to talk about something which is pretty cool. It's called a secret identity. So a secret identity, like in a gamification system, is you pick an avatar for yourself. So like um, so in a game like PUBG or Fortnite, you have like these skins, right? Like you are playing a character. So research suggests that when you pretend to, have that character, like you adopt the story. So like there was this research that was done in the positive psychology sphere, that when when you're teaching children and you tell them like, hey, like you know what would Batman do or what would Superman do, they would usually choose like something of good behavior, or they would be like they would take more heroic ways of doing things, like putting the trash in the recycle bin or stuff like that. So pick a secret identity that you would want to uh, apply. So in case of meditation, right, like I think about the Jedi warriors in Star Wars, because we are shown in the movie that they meditate. So whenever I meditate, I feel like, oh crap, like I'm one of those Jedi knights meditating. Or in the Matrix, right? Because even in the Matrix, they have like these it has a very Buddhist or yogic way of looking into things. So god damn, I sound like a total nerd. Like if you agree with me, like type in the comments below, like this makes sense. So you consider that when you're getting into fitness, you employ like a secret identity or an avatar for yourself. Like maybe it's Arnold, or Rocky from the Rocky movies, or the Rock, like you, or the Hulk, or whatever it is. Like Captain America, he went from a total thin guy to like a total hunk, right? So whatever it is, you pick like something which motivates you. Like you can employ that avatar. So there are these things done in like some websites where they pick like a secret identity for themselves, or like an avatar for themselves. So pick an avatar that is empowering to you. You're not just somebody like, whatever your normal life is. So you're picking like a secret identity, like a superhero. So this was done in one of those there was this website called nerdfitness.com, all right? And the guy, founder of nerdfitness.com, he wrote a book called Level Up Your Life. In Level Up Your Life, he talks about how, he wants to take it, how employing a secret identity, you become part of like this alliance and you are like a rebel, or, his whole shtick is based on that. And it is quite inspiring, it's awesome that, that's a very empowering way to start your journey. And um, consider that, you can pick any kind of secret identity, because in the Matrix movies, like the real world where everything is like bleak and the sun doesn't shine and they are being hunted by machines, like when they plug into the Matrix, like they have their own names, right? And they have their own cool stuff that they can do. Like they can do stuff in the Matrix that they can't do in the real world. So they have access because of their special combos and power ups and whatnot. So that's the second thing. Pick a secret identity which empowers you. Pick a role model for yourself and employ that avatar. It could be from fiction, it could be from reality, whatever. Like it helps to have, like, run wild with your imagination. So, or picture yourself, in the future, like your ideal performance conditioned self, like 5 years down the line, and you pretend as if that's already happening. Like something like, I read in Think and Grow Rich, and by Napoleon Hill. And there's this book by Jack Canfield, like how to go from where you are to where you want to be. In that, he talks about the reticular activation system. Basically, it's when you start thinking about a certain thing. For example, you start thinking about a red color car, okay, a red car, and as you keep driving on the road, you start seeing only red cars. So it's like you have put yourself up to those things to, like pop up in your field of view or vision. So when you like as an entrepreneur, if you were like seeing yourself as the next Elon Musk, or even Tony Stark, because technically Tony Stark is also an entrepreneur, right? Like a science guy. So like you start seeing the things which attract you towards that kind of a life. Carl Jung also had this idea called circumambulation, where you it's like a spiral. What that means is that you keep tending towards your ideal self, and at one point, like gravity, you get you get aligned and you become one with your ideal self. So keep that in your vision, okay, in your mind. That's your avatar. Okay, further, like there are four more steps. It's not over yet. So you have so far your challenge, your combination moves, your guardians, and your avatar, your secret identity. Right now, we are going to be looking into your missions, your like win state, or an epic win. Okay, um, a compelling scoreboard, and one more thing which I have forgotten. It was number four also, but we'll get to that. So um, let's talk about missions. So a mission is like a series of tasks. Okay, like it's like a level, or like each time you cross one mission, you go to the next level, and in the further and the level to the on a further level. So for now, my mission is to consistently meditate 2 times a day for 7 days consistently. That's like how I can measure it. So the more I set missions for myself or quests for myself, the more I keep going forward and doing them. So it doesn't mean that like you only focus on that one combination moves. You can have multiple combination moves. So take this as a module, and you can add multiple modules into it. So it's a modular system. So one quest here would be, okay, 7 days, great. If I accomplish 7 days, 14 days of consistently 2 hours of meditation per day, and I can keep building it up. So an epic win is a state of celebration, because you have consistently done meditation for like like a year or something. Or like an epic win could be something distinct, because there are these meditation centers where I can, like spend like 10 days meditating 11 hours a day. So to do that, I would like practice every day and be able to be ready to do that. So that would be an epic win, for me to go and do one of those meditation retreats once a year or something. So that would be an epic win. And further, you would need a scoreboard. You need a compelling scoreboard to keep seeing how much you're progressing. So we'll build a system to measure your progress, like statistics. So again, there's an added constraint that each time you fulfill on that your task or your quest, you come back and fulfill it. So those are one of the things. And lastly, I think this is the most important. You have an alliance. You have an alliance of people who do play this game with you, so that you can keep each other accountable. So this is like an absolute necessity. Like this is like the most important part of the game, is that you don't play the game alone. Even in like single player games, right? Like you have like allies with you, like friends, or in the game, like in Mario, you have these friends who like give you gifts and power ups and stuff like that, right? So even in like in Counter Strike and stuff, it's a multiplayer game. Like there are multiple people rooting for you, as in it's more fun to play games with more people. So have an alliance, like have an accountability partner with you. Like in gyms, fitness, like circles, you have these multiple people. Even with the business, right, like entrepreneurship, you have a network of people who like, or BNI, they keep motivating you to go forward. So this is how like you can build like a gamification system. And for more videos, like please subscribe, because the subsequent videos I'll be talking about how to apply this in such a way that you would be able to win in all areas of your life. So let's thank you for watching. See ya.